Purpose left.
Well, hello everybody. As promised, we have Terrace Coley Bobber and Sean Harvey, Alberta Statehood Party. They're registered with Elections Alberta. They're going through the process, doing signature drives in COVID, needing at least 9,500 signatures. Tough order in COVID-19. Today, though, you guys broke ground. They broke ground with the province has been lifted. We're going to talk to these two individuals about what their plans are, how they're going to go about it, and see if I can't help with their narrative and see them through. So, Terrace, I'm going to start with you. Do you want to tell everybody what motivated you to get into Alberta statehood for USA and why you think that is a good option?
Well, first thing I think is we need a provincial constitution. Without the constitution, all you got is the government. A provincial constitution will give you we the people, not we the government.
Well said, Terrace. And Sean, how about you? What got you into this? Why is this a path for you?
I think the biggest reason for me is because what's been going on in Alberta for many years is not working. And once I educated myself on the options that were out there to me, joining the United States makes the most sense. It's the most profitable for Albertans. It's the best for us to be in control of everything that we have in our provincial territory called Alberta. And I think that that's so amazing to share that with the world. We'll eventually put Alberta on the map around the globe so people will know where Alberta is. So when we become a state, Alberta USA, people in the UK and Nigeria and all these other places in the world will know Alberta USA, where we are and what we've done to better the world.
Well said. Just for everybody watching, when we get into regionalism, a topic not very well talked about actually anywhere today these days, it was the defining moment of American unionism. That's a fact. When you look at the founding fathers, there were lawyers there and there were non-lawyers. But the interesting part was USA, when it did its constitutional conventions and built its constitution to bring all the states together, and even the states themselves that all came with constitutions, many of them already before the American Union Constitution, the federal Constitution, they were all strong regionalists. They understood the importance of differences of people and regions, needs, wants, and to have a division of powers. The United States is the oldest example of this. Now, many countries have that. Canada, even in its federal constitution, rolls that out entirely since 1867. When UK said, go ahead, go your own way, be a country, we're still going to govern over you to a limited degree, but not so limited as they had full crown authority. However, they gave the division of powers, and they even said, develop regional constitutions. We see the UK now today. Each of those regions are all UN states today. Very small island group of what are UN countries. They don't need regionalism because each region became a UN state. Africa's doing the same thing. However, with the United States, they've kept the regionalism intact. They give the division of power. Canada has the division of power, but yet, to this day, not one premier in any province or territory in all of Canada and all its changes incorporating more has ever wanted to do that. They don't want any rules of governance. They don't want to know how to govern. They just want one man or woman elected to autocratically decide each and everything for all of you. And the problem with that is what's been the problem throughout history, what led to the War of Independence is when you have no say and no control, you don't know what kind of dumbbell you might get, incompetent buffoon who through wealth is able to articulate written speeches by people they've hired, but the reality is they don't know how to do any of these real governing aspects. They don't understand the country entirely. Industry's primary. They don't understand public sector, or they don't understand economics. That is problematic. Worse is if you get a tyrant to come along, a tyrant who gets drunk with the power and has delusions of grandeur. Now what do? The Indigenous genocide right here in Canada. That happened in our time. How did it happen? 0 regional constitutions, no rules of governance, and absolutely no accountability. This is absolutely the federal system too. Everybody thinks there's a House and a Senate like other countries. However, unlike the United States, Senate in Canada is appointed by absolutely the Chief Executive Prime Minister, who is Her Majesty in Canada. They appoint those people as they come and go. It's a lifetime appointment, and each of them swears an oath not to the American we the people, bound in Constitution, absolutely, but absolutely they give the power ultimately to that Prime Minister you've all elected. Those are truly your only rights. Some great things have been said, you guys, on enshrined rights. We've all heard that term, but I'm curious to hear from you guys, because you've looked into the United States. I have as well too. Americans are born and constitutionally bound with not just enshrined rights, but these are rights that are inalienable. That's what the Constitution says. Every man and woman born in the United States or through immigration gets absolute rights that they were born with, meaning no one can dispute it. There's no politicians to come along and say, hey, I don't want you to have that right of God-given right to you, we the people. We're going to take it away. Now that happens every day in Canada, all the time. Each party does that. Do you guys want to talk about the party system, how you see it differs, USA versus Canada? Do you want to go first, Terrace?
I'd like to know if you could explain to the Alberta State Party how another way to go about collecting signatures as MLAs. If you could explain that to me.
Well, for the province of Alberta, there are three ways actually to register a party. There's 3 ways. Now you can go out and convince 3 sitting MLAs of any party or absolutely independent to take your party and register it legally overnight. You get absolute party status with 3 MLAs. The second, which everybody knows, is the hardest province in all of Canada, is to go out and get signatures. In Alberta, it's a percentage of the population, which works out to today, I believe, 8,700 signatures. But you might as well get 9,700 or 9,500 because you don't want spoiled votes and the rest of it. The third way is to run MLAs. You have to run at least, because there's 87 MLAs, candidates, 87 constituencies in Alberta, you have to run 50% plus 1, which means 87 divided by 2 is 43.5, but they say 44. There's your 50% plus 1. If you run 44 MLA candidates in any provincial election, you will get party status. However, there's a catch. I was the first to do this in the entire history of Alberta. Nobody had ever successfully done the third option. They said it was impossible. But what happens is the Premier announces an election. At that point, they drop what's called the writ. You have a period of 30 days from when they drop that writ to the day that they start the election period to bring forward the 44 MLA candidates, getting no less than 35 signatures each from those in their constituency endorsing their candidacy. Now, if you bring forward 44 with 35 signatures and it all passes with Elections Canada, you automatically get party status. Absolute party status. But you won't get that until the writs drop and you have that 30-day period to get it done. If you don't get it done, you don't get status. We got it done. It can be done. Costs $500 a candidate. Takes those signatures endorsed by those in your constituency, which means door knocking. But with all that, you should have that lined up anyway, reality. But the whole point is, do the signaturized starting now. Get your 87 candidates. Don't shoot for 44. Shoot for an absolute majority cast. Go out and knock on 5,000 doors each. You have a very good chance, if you get 5,000 endorsements each, that you will not only get your status, but you're likely to win several regions. Several of Alberta's regions. I'll tell you, Slave Lake, there's a bunch of them. Banff, Kananaskis, there's a whole bunch. A lot of Albertans don't know this stuff because in Canada, in Canada's political system, it's a first-class citizen. That's what they expect. That's how they've designed the system. They don't expect average people to go out and do this. Now, Terrace ran with me, everybody. He was my MLA candidate for Edmonton Manning. He did it. We went out together. We did the signatures. I did a whole bunch. And Terrace lived through it. He's cemented forever. And now this is his new narrative, which, so everybody knows, statehood is an option. It is. People get angry about, well, we want independence, we want this, we want that. The more tools you have, this is what I believe, the more tools you have in your toolbox, the only better it can come. That's reality. That's what I believe. You do need independence. You can't do unilateral declarations. I will give you guys this, that USA itself, Democrat or Republican, will not grant statehood unless you've gone through legal independence. Even though George H. Bush did this very thing against the country of Russia, which I just did a video before, did this in 1991 executively without going through House and Senate. He used his executive power. A flaw, the constitutional flaw of America. They have a bunch. That's why I do CCP. I understand where you guys are coming from. I get it. But I believe we can make all of Canada even better than the United States of America. I think in 200 years we've learned a lot, and I think we could do a better federal presentation for all of Canada. But I absolutely think that what you guys are doing is tremendous. It's great. And why not? Why not? Because it's an option for we the people. You won't get that. You won't get that with anybody else besides myself and what you fellas are doing. And I commend you for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you guys would like to go through? Any questions? Or
Sean there, maybe ask
is there anything you'd like to discuss? Or
I've done a lot of thinking over the last little while. I'm a truck driver. I've been 31-year truck driver veteran. I've been from Alberta to Toronto and back many times. I've been to northern British Columbia. I've seen a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things too, and I don't know everything, but I know this. What makes the most sense for us is, like Dave says, to have more options so that once you're educated on all those options, you can truly make an informed decision. And I love America. I eat, sleep, and breathe America. People say, you're a traitor. No, I'm not a traitor. The traitor is in Ottawa right now. That's what we need to fight. That's what we have to stand up for our future generations. This isn't about me. This is about my kids and my future grandkids. And the status quo that we've been doing for many, many years is not working. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's been Alberta for many years. We haven't been booming for at least 15 years in this province. That's why, unfortunately, Dave has to go work in Ontario and not in Alberta, where he should be, close to his daughters. So he's made a sacrifice for his family to go work in another province so that he can still work. rather than be like everybody else and just collect a government check. And Dave's not like that. Dave's a go-getter, and I totally respect him for doing that. I've done the same thing. I've been away from my family 1,600, 1,800 kilometers away. Dave's over 3,000 kilometers away from his family. So those are sacrifices that we make. But we have enough natural resources in this province to look after every Albertan so that we can be great again. And that's why I think, in my opinion, that Alberta statehood is the way to go, so that we can do whatever we want to do and control everything in our destiny and be prosperous. 20 years ago when Alberta was booming, we will be 10 times, 20 times better than that if we were to become a state. I've talked to a lot of truck drivers. A lot of truck drivers are thinking about selling their trucks, and they don't know they're going to have to go back and get a job because of the expenses of the fuel and the insurance and registration for those vehicles to travel around other provinces, the international fuel tax agreement that they have to pay for. We're going to make trucking great again because it is a great industry, and if it wasn't for without us, you guys wouldn't have food on your table and gas in your cars and lumber to make your things and all of those things. 98% of what we purchase on a daily basis came by a truck. Not everything comes by a train. So we're at a critical moment where, guess what? If Alberta were to become a state, which I believe we can make that happen, millions of people across every industry will be booming again, as we should. And I think that would be Alberta's way to give back to the rest of Canada when we separate that, to say, hey, guess what? Canada doesn't know what they got until it's gone. And we're going to set that example for Alberta and for our future generations.
It's definitely the sentiment that I see growing and growing. It's been tremendous. We've all seen it. And since my 2019, I've watched this explode. Maybe I'm in that pioneering group, but it wasn't where it needed to be when I did it. But I see it all coming around just as I watch this narrative grow. And I think, as my directions changed, and I do support the option of it, absolutely, because I think what everybody misses and what my federal narrative is now, guys, is the fact that we are fully autocratic. Now, that's not how America runs at all. And what was given in World War II and where the world went and these allies and the system they gave for us, which comes from the United States of America, everybody. Let's face facts here. UK was devastated. France was devastated. Russia has its own system. China has its own system. What's closest to us is the United States, and most of the rights and freedoms we have today were won in that new system on D-Day, Victory Day, World War II, and it was passed on to so many countries. And a lot of Canadians don't appreciate that. They think that somehow these things are just the way they are, but yet the autocracy of everything. We're borrowing more than USA ever could. USA owns so much of the foreign debt of all countries. People say, oh, they're so far in debt, but when you cancel them out, USA doesn't own nothing. Canada is literally in debt to the United States for foreign debt. 65% of our foreign debt belongs to the United States of America. A lot of people don't believe that. And then when you look at, these big trillion-dollar groups in the United States, black, what are they up to? Well, they're all the pension plans of everyday working Americans. The 501ks, all of it. That's what it is. And people don't realize this stuff. Americans are the most tremendously wealthy citizens in the entire world. A lot of people don't know that either. It comes from a combination of state constitutionalism and absolute federal constitutionalism. I believe we could make a better system. I love the states. The P5 power of having that veto automatically applied to you as a state is a tremendous option. If we can't fix Canada, I see that as the only other way to go. And I'm going to give her, in my federal narrative, I know where these guys are. I get where you're at. And it is an option. It's an option for Albertans. And I think it will grow, along with, we've watched the explosion of independence since even 2019. It's exploded now. And I don't think Canada realizes just how close they are to losing Alberta. It's reality. Thanks. I think that was a great video. Anything
All I
else?
gotta say is
Sure, go
to my
ahead, Terrace.
fellow Alberta stated patriots, it's all about we the people. Okay? It's all about we the people and a constitution. That's all I got to say. Our party is getting bigger every day. It's growing. That's it.
All right. And that is it. It's all about constitutionalism. There are many varieties of that. You can all have it. There's many narratives. There's nothing wrong with options. Those who say you don't need any options are generally people in life you don't want to get into business with. When people say you don't need all these options, you only need this one narrative, that's somebody who goes out of business. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Appreciate you,
It's
buddy.
great to see you, Sean.
Thanks,
Great.
bud. Good to
Thank
see
you,
you.
Terz.